Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece chapter 1099, Pacifist. So please like and subscribe if you have not, and leave a comment, give us your take on the chapter and our review, and we'd really appreciate it. I'm Akainu Fanboy, the other guy's Geboss, and we get this cover story with Odin.
Yeah.
That's it. Moving on to Kuma is pissed off, and he is fighting to save the village because we get this very, very terrible King Bakori coming back, and he basically setting off more, burning more of the city and everything like that. And Bonnie makes note like this is the most on edge she's ever seen her dad, and he starts going to town to defend the villagers and everything like that because he did a lot of damage already, and this was a lot of kind of what we predicted earlier of what would happen. So do you have any thoughts on this initial here? I mean, it is cool to see the Orochi's shock again. We haven't seen that for a while, but so what were your thoughts on this Sorbet's one-man revolution, as the chapter calls it?
I thought it was interesting that they brought up specifically that they got the idea from a country in the east, which was the Goa Kingdom, which relates back to Luffy's flashback with Ace and Sabo. It took me a minute to, when I was reading, I was like, wait, in the east. So I thought they were talking about Ohara for a second, but no, it's definitely that one. But I mean, I'll say King Bakori, out of all the like terrible kings, I think he's the one with the most I guess like fighting spirit, because he keeps coming back. He got ousted the first time and now he's back, and then he comes back again later in this chapter.
Especially when it's someone against Kuma and all these people and the revolutionaries, and you still think you have the power to do it. And he just kind of seems like a weak fodder king, so it is kind of interesting how much willpower he has, like you pointed out, so
yeah.
I did think that was another.
I was gonna say when the whole thing is called the one-man revolution, you would think that you wouldn't come back after that, because like one person took down the whole kingdom and deposed me.
Yeah, and Dragon didn't help, but I just want to point that out there. But I don't
think he was needed.
He just apparently he's never needed because he doesn't do anything. But at the same time, I did think that was a great connection, though, how he connected it with Sabo's kingdom and the Goa kingdom. I thought that was another. This chapter in particular, I thought was pretty masterful, how the more and more world building he does and the connections he does with the plot. So I did appreciate that a lot. And we get to see, how Kuma becomes the king, and then we get back to Saturn here. So they're putting an emphasis on Saturn in this flashback for sure, because obviously he's, in close proximity. So they want to give him some good characterization since he's in proximity with the Straw Hats, and obviously Kuma's probably going to be an egghead very shortly, so it's going to be adding in some more emotional depth here, right?
Yeah.
And so, you kind of have Kuma, starting off as kind of like a humble priest, and then he gets elevated to the throne, right? But he does say I'm nothing but a figurehead, and that Bulldog-san is the one who's really running the country.
Yeah, because initially we were kind of confused, or at least I was, when Kuma was like, oh, he was a king, but he was also a pirate and a warlord, and it's like all these things kept getting piled on top of him, and this makes it a lot clearer about what the whole thing was and how he came into power.
Yeah, because I might be jumping forward a little bit, but it did seem like this was going to be a lot like Jinbei's story, where he wanted to defend his people, right? And that's why he became a warlord of the sea. But it kind of seems like he's doing it more for Bonnie towards the end of the chapter. But maybe, theoretically, this could be, defending the kingdom and trying to get Bonnie cured at the same time. So I don't know what your thoughts on that could be, potentially.
Well, did it... Hold on, let me just check really quick. I mean, we don't see him technically join the warlords yet in this chapter. He's still just a pirate.
Yes. Yes, I guess it's going in that direction. But I guess we could talk about the rest of that later, before we get to that part of the chapter. Because we do see Bonnie eat her devil fruit here. Where, we get to basically see... they don't really explain how they get the fruit, do they?
No. I was going to bring that up. Like,
okay.
They say, like, oh, when did you eat a devil fruit? And it's like...
Yeah,
that's the... How did a devil fruit come into her possession? And if she had it all along, and maybe the powers finally revealed themselves, or... I don't know, because she's isolated to the church, so I don't know how she would have gotten a hold of that.
Yeah, so kind of wish like that was expounded on a little bit more, especially with Bonnie's fruit is very powerful, and I think it may become very important in the series going on. But
yeah,
right after that, though, we are introduced. Oh, sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, it looks like the old man has the same devil fruit encyclopedia that Sanji had, which apparently is... I don't know if that whole thing is a plot hole or not, but I find it weird that they just have an encyclopedia of devil fruits. Because...
Yeah.
Especially, like, in the East Blue, people, like, didn't even know what they were.
That's true.
Yeah. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. So we get introduced to the previous king, Bulldog, and everything. And he brings the news that Kuma's now a tyrant. And I like, again, this is something we kind of predicted, that we were gonna have him be seen more as evil and a tyrant. But I think, like, in some positive news, he isn't getting the King Riku treatment, because that's kind of what I expected. That he was just gonna be, framed for, like, destroying and hurting his kingdom, which I guess theoretically could still happen, where you have, like, a type of Doflamingo King Riku situation where Kuma ends up hurting and destroying this whole kingdom to fit the story. But that was kind of... I thought that was going to kind of be the immediate smear, but I guess they're just doing it without, like, any foundation. They're just lying about him.
Yeah. I mean...
yeah, so I
technically he did... like overthrow a kingdom, and they spun it that way. So,
yeah, but I guess, like, when you call someone a tyrant, you're assuming that it's your rule is, like, what makes you evil, not, like, the revolution itself. I guess, in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because we don't really, like, earlier in the chapter, it said that Kuma is really just the figurehead for the whole thing, and Bulldog runs the actual kingdom.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, I like the gag with the what was it? Queen Connie or something? Is that her name? The Bulldog's mother. I like the whole thing that they're mistaking her for Bonnie. And that kind of ties into the whole disguise that she had when Bonnie infiltrated the Reverie.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. In the background, you see her, like, trying to transform into it. I just like the little background gags, and even when, like, there's the panel with
another good connection.
Yeah, there's the panel with Kuma picking up her, and he thinks it's Bonnie, and he's like, Bonnie, I'll be back as soon as I can. And he's talking to the old grandma.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a good gag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another good connection, too. But we see Kuma pull up to this fleet. Does not turn out well.
No. The entire...
off-screen.
Yeah, entire Marine Armada. Yeah.
And for some strange reason, we do not see Kuma's bounty. I don't know why he's hiding it at this point.
I mean,
you know?
we knew it was like 200 and something thousand, 250,000 or something like that.
Yeah, just show it, you know?
Well, it's like how they never showed some of the other big bounties in the flashbacks. 296,000.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay, fine. And then, so Bonnie's missing, and honestly, I think this is my favorite part of the chapter because I was like, him getting the context of where he sent all the Straw Hats by visiting, trying to find cure. I thought that was pretty phenomenal because like we kind of like assumed like, okay, Kuma just sent them there, but we didn't know exactly how the power worked. But I guess he does have to see the place first, you know. So
yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting there, and so I really enjoyed that a lot, just to see the world building finally connect there, and so I thought it was really phenomenal, and I'm wondering what kind of conversation he had with Kuma. I'm sorry, when Kuma had with Mihawk.
Yeah,
you know. Because I did assume that they did get in contact with one another.
Yeah, it's strange that he just.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he just kind of showed up at Mihawk's island. But yeah, I think the only places that I didn't see that he sent him were Amazon Lily, and what's the other one? Oh, Eva's Kingdom.
Yeah, but he's already been at Eva's though, I assume, right?
Yeah, we can assume that. Oh, and also there's the one the panel after we see Rob, where he sent Robin with the big bridge. I assume that that's Brooke's place, but that was the only one that was unaccounted for besides those two. But yeah, this like you said, like, I was really happy that we saw like all this stuff where he sent them.
Again, we see the bounty hunter brothers dress Reza for like no reason at all.
They just
pop up.
I know, it's like, did they even mention that they knew Kuma or whatever? Or it's just a weird inclusion, but it's funny.
Yeah, Oda's just like, I want to bring him back for some reason.
Yeah, and we get to see the goat Heracles from Usopp's island.
I guess like Oda's like, oh, okay. Oda's like, I hear the criticism that there's not enough bounty hunters, so I'll just throw this in here for no reason at all. You know, here's some bounty hunters.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just hilarious. I mean, it's good to see them too. And yeah, Heracles, the goat.
Yeah.
Very goated. And then so it was, and then we see the best boss in the world, Dragon, who works overtime. And we see him chilling on his ship, and so we see a young Bello Betty basically, and that she is asking for Jenny's old spot for the Eastern Forces, and you know, I thought that was nice and considerate, and I thought that was a good connection there too on how she became, you know, a commander of that position. So I thought that was pretty well done, and it shows respect too for Kuma and like what she suffered, you know, especially since Dragon, you know, didn't do anything, you know. So, but at least that respect was shown. Any thoughts on this section right here?
I mean, I like the whole interaction, like Dragon saying, like Sabo and Koala wanted to see Kuma, and everything, but I don't know, just re-looking at this chapter here. I don't know if this is a theory or not, but it was said that the person with the last poneglyph was in a pitch black ship. And
yes,
we see that very distinctly with Dragon ship. So I don't know if that's the case, like if marked by flames means like the tattoo that Dragon has on his face or what. But a lot of people read into
that's a good theory.
Yeah, but a lot of people theorized that like marked by flames meant like Saul being like freezer burned. But yeah, I just realized it as we were talking and looking over the chapter here. And another thing, the final thing with Dragon saying, "Go where the winds of fate take you, my friend." I think Oda's like basically saying like, "Oh yeah, he definitely has a wind like devil fruit," just based on what we have. Like it's such a specific phrase.
And what we've seen of him in the past too.
Yeah, and we get the precedent that from Vegapunk's flashback that him and Dragon are connected, and he's the one that sends Kuma to Vegapunk, which I like.
Yeah. Yes, so that was good, and yeah, so we see young Bonnie punching out someone with the shirt "Live to Eat." Love the shirt.
Yeah.
And then we go to Lab 08, Science Division, which is the future location of Egghead, and we see. I like the little barrel cage that he has for Bonnie and everything, so she doesn't get hurt. I thought that was just a cool little panel there, but so they see Vegapunk for the first time, and to help find a cure here. And I do love the little panel with Sentomaru's axe and Sentomaru trying to get it back from Bonnie. I thought that was a cute little one there too.
Yeah.
And then so they try to basically Vegapunk wants to check out his genetics when he hears about his lineage, and wanted to get a stem cell transplant. And Kuma's, basically saying, "Oh wait, you're gonna like turn her into a cyborg," which I thought was kind of interesting too. That was kind of the initial plan,
Yeah.
But yeah, any general thoughts on this last section right here?
I thought it was interesting that Kuma said, if it'd cure Bonnie, I would make a deal with the devil himself, which kind of leads back. It leads directly into like Saturn saying that I have my own ideas for this thing, because Vegapunk's setting up the whole thing, saying like, "Oh, these will be peacekeepers. Like you don't have to worry about this," and we can assume like from the black transponder sale we see with Saturn that he's listening in. So I think, like with all of Vegapunk's projects, he has like an ideal thing that he wants them to do, but the government takes them for something completely different, making them into machines of war.
Yeah, he's very naive.
Yeah, than peacekeepers. I think kind of they both are, Kuma and Vegapunk. But yeah, we see the whole thing with where the name Pacifista comes from, and then there was something
very well done. Like the connections here have been beautiful. Like he's like explaining everything. It's just really well done.
Yeah, it gives a lot of context for Kuma's character.
Yeah, he said like Dragon won't be happy about this, and it's kind of, I don't think he even understands like in what sense he won't be happy about it later down the road too, but it was interesting. So the cut here, where it says the clone soldiers are meant to be weapons. A weapon's worth is defined by how many people it can kill. Vegapunk is a fool for not making the most of this chance, no matter I have my own ideas. So yeah, so basically we get the establishment to the pacifistas, and probably to an extent later on, like the foundation for the Seraphim as well too. Yeah.
I also, it's just a minor thing, but I was looking for images for the thumbnail, and the one I chose was with Vegapunk. Like you can't see his face in the background, but like his outfit in this chapter matches perfectly with that, even down to like the gloves. Because like there's one panel where like I don't know if the shine's coming for the gloves or it's because Vegapunk's talking about the Pacifistas, but again, it's the attention to detail for all this. But yeah, I don't have really too much else to say. I think in previous discussions we kind of predicted that like he would go to Vegapunk to cure Bonnie. And we got the clarification of everything to do with like his title and how he wound up being the king of the Sorbet Kingdom. But yeah, good chapter, big milestone, 1100 coming up next. I think it's next week, no break, I think.
Let's go.
Yeah, what about you? Any other final thoughts?
No. I'd say that's about it. It seems that we're getting close to the end of the flashback pretty soon. You know, I'd say the last thing basically at this point is just going to be him becoming a warlord, and maybe we'll see a little bit of him, post that, like in the main story, kind of maybe his perspective right before he goes to, Moria's place, Thriller Bark, right? And kind of the thought process around there. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of that, and maybe we'll see like an introspection of his last moment before he became a cyborg too. Yeah.
Given this has been a couple days since the chapter released, so we're kind of behind, but we had the holiday and everything. But I think someone pointed out that it would be interesting if, because he separated all these memories, if they were to go back into him and he would regain conscious that way. I think that would be interesting, and he can finally be himself when he... I assume that he's going to sacrifice himself at the end of this. At the end of this arc.
Yeah, to get everybody off the island. I think that scenario is becoming more likely the more this flashback gets fleshed out more. Like him being more of a sacrificial lamb to save everybody rather than helping so they defeat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and I've been on that position for a while. I'm just saying, so I'm gonna continue to hold on to it too. But that's just kind of where I stand with it. But yeah. So, anyways, I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving for everybody in the States, and we're thankful for our audience. Thanks for listening. So please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you have not, and we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.